Hello, my name is Josef Hajkr. I am leader of Shine Consulting, and welcome today to today's webinar. No one expected that artificial intelligence would penetrate so quickly into many areas, but I will tell you one important thing. The technologies that are coming will become more and more accessible and cheaper, but what matters is people. Today, a smaller and smaller percentage of capable and motivated people determine the success of an entire organization. So today's webinar will be about us. It will be about people. Everyone has our capabilities, attitudes, and characters. Capabilities are about your knowledge and your skills, and you can develop them through training and mentoring. Attitudes are about your motivation, and you will be motivated if your projects make sense, you learn new things, and you feel free to create. But the most important of this trinity is our characters. Each of us has a natural talent for how to learn, how to lead, and how to live. And even for managing projects, knowing your character correctly is the key. It's the beginning of your journey. That's why I invited my friend Ivana Sediva. We will focus on one important thing: how to have a much greater impact by knowing your strengths and strengths of other team members better. And thanks to this, you will be able to handle all the changes that are happening now with ease. And how will the webinar go? Please keep your video and audio turned off for now. If you want to ask a question, use chat. And then I will also everything share in the screen. And at the beginning, post in the chat where we are joined from and how you heard about the workshop. Yes, you can share it to the chat. And let me pass the floor to Ivana. Ivana, floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Before we start our webinar, it's actually an act of politeness, but also mutual trust is if I introduce myself. Why should you actually pay attention to what I'm saying? Well, I had almost 30 years history in large corporations. You may think how it is relevant to me if I am a business owner or if I am a solopreneur, for instance. Well, all those large corporations like Johnson & Johnson or McDonald's, where I was working on the C-level, on the board level, locally and internationally. All those corporations, once upon a time, were small businesses as well. So regardless where you are, whether you are starting your business or working as an employee for somebody else, there is a lot to learn. However, we need to always take into consideration your current circumstances. Now, what we will be talking about today are things which currently are being labeled more like soft skills, right? But with the artificial intelligence coming, which will take over, like it or not, it will take over a lot of specifics of the jobs, which are mostly hard skill related. The soft skills, especially the communication related soft skills, will be more and more important. Actually, already today, some masters of negotiation say that negotiation is no soft skill. It's a hard skill already today. And let me assure you that influencing and persuasion belongs to the same bucket as negotiation. I would like to talk about today about the 7 keys to influence and about 3 tips what to do or maybe what not to do in negotiation. We have, of course, limited time, so I will not be able to cover everything to the extreme depth. But I will like to highlight certain things which, if you start using them today, which will help you significantly, unless you are already a big expert. But if you are where I was years ago, you may be wondering why some people who actually do not have the same knowledge, the same technical or expert knowledge like you, are kind of more successful sometimes. Maybe they are even not as intelligent as you are, right? And you may be wondering how come that their proposals or they're asking for resources, like money or people, whatever resources you need, that they are more successful often. Now, we will be looking at the skills which allow people to actually get what they want. Now, don't misinterpret it as manipulation, like the negative manipulation. Of course, like fire, you know, it's a bad master, but it's a very good help if we can understand the art of influencing a negotiation. Now, what I prepared for you, and if you want to take a snapshot, that would be this one, right? So let me share with you a very brief presentation on discovering the project Genius Influence. The 7 keys of influence I want to talk about are the following. You don't need to read it right now. We will be speaking about those. But they cover basically a lot from long-term preparation through the short-term preparation for the specific meeting. Well, when we are actually influencing and persuading people, and maybe even negotiating, for some people, the difference between those 3 terms is kind of blurred, and nobody can blame you because it's not like crystal clear division between influencing, persuasion, and negotiation. What I like to define it for myself is that when we are discussing with people something we want from them or we want to happen, until the point when they say, it sounds really great, I really want it. Let's talk about how and when and for how much and what is exactly included and so on. This is the point until which I consider that as more like influencing and persuasion. And then once we start talking about, okay, so we understand we have some, I have some wish, I want to do something with you, or maybe we have some conflict, yeah, like which we need to resolve in current relationship. Then the negotiation starts. These are kind of separate disciplines, but they actually are built on very similar ground. For both of these disciplines, the critically important part is that you have the aim, that you understand what you want from this meeting, from this communication. Very often I talk to clients, and when they are preparing for the meeting, and I ask them, so what do you want them to think, to feel, and to do once the meeting is over, or even during the meeting? And it sounds like very often it feels like they never ask themselves this question, yet it's so powerful. Very often when I ask people, what are you expecting from this meeting? They often tell me, well, I want to have a good discussion about XYZ. But we actually never go to the meeting to discuss XYZ. We always have an intention to leave some impression, rational and emotional. And also, oftentimes, to provoke an activity, an action. Now, once we reframe our intention in these terms, it helps us tremendously. So we can actually start putting down, so, okay, I want them to think that I have a good solution for their problem, or that I understand their problem, or that my solution is much cheaper than competitors or much more reliable. Now, you can see that it is not easy, because once we start asking these questions, it's very important to not to dilute our message, but to really be focused. So here my advice always is like, what is the most important thing you want them to take away with them? Because they will never be able to remember everything what you said, right? So you understanding to know what you want to leave them with is the first step into them being able to hear it, because you will structure your speech, your presentation, your discussion in a way that you reinforce your key message enough. Now, from advertising, we know that at least 3 times repeating the critical information is the minimum. So if I know what impression do I want to leave there, I can actually think about using that at the beginning, in the middle, and when I'm wrapping up the meeting, the key message. Okay. So we could be speaking much more about it, obviously, but this is a breakthrough for a lot of people, and I hope it will help you as well. The second part, the emotional part, will help you actually set the tone. And also, it will help you to build the relationship. How people feel during the meeting with you. Now, you probably have seen the quote, people will never remember what you told them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So if you can somehow work on what feeling do you want to leave, it will help you with setting up the tone, but also vocabulary, and also the way how you interact. Is it more interactive or not? And talking about interaction, I would like to invite you to interrupt me anytime, even unmute yourself and ask the question as we are speaking, because I want you to take away the most beneficial thing for you. Now, the third thing is, what do I want them to do as a result of this discussion? We often forget to tell people what the hell do we want them to do. And it's actually linked to the rest of your presentation or your discussion with the other person or with a group of people. If they don't know what to do, they will not do it. They will not second guess. We are so overwhelmed by the information today that unless we present our case to our people in a very appealing way, structured, interesting, involving, attractive, but also very clear in terms of, and this is what I want you to do. And this is what I need to actually say to myself at the very beginning. Or rather than say, write it down. Our brain is very complicated structure. And when they are thinking about something, it very often feels like, yes, I understand it, it's clear. Now, only once you start writing it down, or once you start speaking it, only at that time you find out whether it's really that crystal clear. So I really invite you to use pen and paper anytime, and to use speech to say those things out loud. And you will hear it back, you will see it on the paper, and you may realize that it needs further clarification. So let me give you an example. So if you are coming to let's say, management of the company, where you are running some project and you need some more resources, let's say money, okay? So you want them to think that you are on the right path, that you are going to deliver, even over-deliver the expectations, that you are the right person to run it, They should feel very confident about you, and you want them to sign off the extra bill for $10,000, whatever you need. Now, once we have this one, we should be thinking about audience. By the way, it doesn't work like in linear way, that now I'm thinking about the aim, the intention, and then I'm talking about the audience, and then about other things. But we always try to go back and forth and try to validate if the whole thing still is like linked together, holds together. Thinking about audience means that you are really considering motivation of people who are sitting on the other side of the table or sitting in the audience. So who they are, what they are doing actually, what are their major pains. Now, it may ring a bell already now, yeah? When you are thinking about your advertising, about your marketing, you may be thinking in the similar terms, and this is nothing different. So think about them as about your customers for the purpose of the meeting or presentation or discussion over the phone, whatever it is. So what is most important for them? Now, I will give you a small example. If you don't think about who they are and what are their big pains, if you are a marketing agency who is working on the brands and on the branding, you may be coming to the potential customer, presenting how beautiful work you do, how great benefits there are if we really have our branding crystal clear. May not be enough. But once you understand that you are talking to the owner of the business in IT sector, where people are a scarce resource, there is not enough people, definitely not enough good people. They are extremely expensive. And their nightmare is if somebody resigns or if they cannot find a person in the market. Now, if I understand that, I can actually rework my pitch, right? Pitch is also the influencing, right? So I can actually say something like, there is a lot of benefits having a really strong brand. One of those is actually that it makes your people more loyal because they will be able to align easily with the brand purpose, with the brand values, Here are the information or researches which prove that. And it's easier to get the best people in the market because of this, and that. Now he is listening. Now he's listening because we found the pain. That's why it's important to really understand your audience. If we are trying to influence somebody within the organization, look at their motivations as well. They are not the external customer, they are internal customer, and they have their own KPIs or OKRs. They have their own measurements. They get the bonus or not get a bonus based on. So understanding those things, it's really important because then you can be actually much more helpful to them. And you can highlight the feature of your solution, which you are offering, or cooperation you are asking for. You can actually highlight to them that it will be good for them as well. And this is what we always need to hear. Point number 3, authenticity. I will be speaking about authenticity a little bit later, but it's definitely linked to our profile, who we are, and understanding who we are. So let me leave that for the end of the meeting. Fourth important key to influencing and persuasion is attention. The span of attention, what people have today, is almost in milliseconds. We need to attract people immediately. And we need to be strategic about the narrative which we are putting together, but also about things like, how do I speak? Do I get your attention by the way how I'm expressing myself? And then number 5, there is alignment. Make sure whatever you are talking about, you are aligned with the language of the audience, the company of the audience, the vision and mission of our own company, if it is internal. It helps you tremendously to get the attention of the person, and they will have that feeling also that you really understand them. I would never go to the meeting with the potential customers unless I understand what is their vision, mission, what are their values. These things are critically important so that I can actually make my offer relevant for them. If you are making a big presentation to the customers or to the general public even, and there are more team members who are sharing one presentation, who are actually putting the puzzle of the whole presentation together, make sure you align among yourselves. Because if you want the audience to think that you are a great team they want to work with, you want to show them that you are aligned. And you show it by using the same template, referring one to the other, or by mentioning what the other person said, not repeating necessarily. Or if you are repeating, because sometimes it's really good to repeat, people will remember. But if you are talking about same thing, just say, and as my colleague said before, you can refer to that and see that you are aligned, that it's not a mistake, that it's for purpose. And then understanding from our first key, what action do we want to have or see from the customer, or from the person, or from the project team member, or from the board who is approving the project. Let's repeat what we want. Wrap up. Tell people what you want from them. This is the right place where to ask for money, for people, for visiting your website, for signing up for your webinar, and so on. And of course, don't forget for aftercare, reaching back to people, asking, how else can I help you? Is everything clear? Whatever is necessary. So this was, in a nutshell, the 7 keys of influence. Now, I would like to spend much less time, but still some time, around negotiation. Negotiation is a full discipline. It's not easy. It's not simple. And it requires a lot of training. But there are certain things which help anybody to move the needle and become a better negotiator. First of all, most important thing, which we very often forget to do, is the proper preparation. If we are going to negotiate with somebody, if we are going as a team, which is ideal solution, we need to sit together and we need to prepare the information which are publicly available. What is our goal? What are our requirements? Which requirements do we need to bring back home, fulfilled from the negotiation, which you can give up, and which maybe you don't care, but these serve another purpose. So don't underestimate the preparation. Even in big tenders in large corporations, people tend to underestimate preparation. And thinking about the requirements, it's like, oh my God, I don't have time for that. It's clear, we will see when the people come for the tender. Prepare, because then you can really have a great negotiation and you can select proper people for your projects as a suppliers. If I would select just 3 from this shortlist, which is still very limited, I would probably pick the excluding some people, where I see a lot of mistakes happening in businesses. Doesn't matter small, doesn't matter big businesses. It is not beneficial if the top decision-making person from the organization attends the negotiation itself. Not even talking about trying to negotiate behind the negotiating team. It is very tempting, especially for founders, to take ownership even of the negotiation. And now, if the team is really, really small, maybe that's how it needs to be done. But if we have a larger organization and we have people who are going to negotiate, don't undermine them. Remember that the other part can misuse you. If you are in the negotiating room with a counterpart who is better trained than you are, they will really use your presence to get easily to the points they want to have covered. They will be able actually to analyze you very quickly and just bring the bites on the table, which you would love to see, and present it in a way which you will feel like, yes, I'm able to decide it. I will decide it right now. So excluding some people, some very important people from the meeting is sometimes very useful. The other person you may want to exclude from the negotiation might be the person who has the deepest and most trusted relationship with a counterpart. That would typically happen if you are negotiating with a long-term partner and you have, let's say, key account manager or somebody who is in regular contact and is really trusted and knows a lot about them, because you don't want to harm their position. You want that person to provide you with a lot of information so that you can be successful in the negotiation. But you don't want them to be present at the moment when the negotiation can become strong. Let me put it this way. You want that person to be protected from that, because it's a huge asset. Third thing which I would like to highlight is listening. It cannot be highlighted more. Even the FBI negotiators, even the FBI negotiators are highlighting the need for building trust and relationship early in any negotiation, even the hostile one. This is the way. If you are able to build the trust, then you are much more able to negotiate what you need. They will be trusting you. And as we know from different researches, relationship plays major role in closing the deals. Now, there will be exceptions. We don't have time to discuss this right now, but I was personally very much surprised on the recent training from worldwide top negotiators from FBI. how big focus they are putting on listening to people and building the trust. Because listening is the way how you can build the trust. If you really listen, but it cannot be fake listening, you have to be really interested in the other person's point of view, what's behind that. And you need to let them speak. You not only build the trust when you are listening, but you are also having basically the discussion where you learn as you are going very important things, which you can leverage in your negotiation. And funny thing is that you can leverage that not against them, but for mutual better deal. So these were selected negotiation tips. If you are interested, I can cover the rest of them very briefly as well, right? The reason for small talk, why is small talk important? And now thinking about some people who are more introverted and who are more rational, analytical, they may see like, oh, what about small talk? Do we need it really? Let's go directly to the point. Well, small talk has several purposes. One is it's a short period of time when you can enhance the relationship, especially if you know each other. You can actually ask authentic questions to those people when you can ask about how well did that project you were working on, or is it now better with the workload, or you can ask about how was that holiday you were going on last month. Yeah, so you are building relationship, but also, and this is not very much known, it's actually very important to set the baseline. Baseline in communication is critically important, understanding the baseline. Baseline in communication is actually understanding how the other person behaves, talks, speaks by their body normally, or even specifically today because it's very hot, very noisy, they didn't sleep last night, whatever. It's very good to understand this normal base. This is the norm for that person. So when you are studying body language, for instance, and you realize that maybe having your hands close to your head means something, or maybe if you do this, it means something. But there might be a person who does that very often, or in the specific situation, because they are sitting on the chair and they cannot put the hands somewhere, they are doing it just to rest the hands, or maybe it's very cold, so they will be doing it. It doesn't mean anything. The tone of voice, the voice, how they are using it, very important. Now, if they start speaking at the beginning, no negative emotions, nothing like that, and they use the specific pitch in their voice, and suddenly during your discussion, they are actually increasing the pitch, you can say, aha, something is going on. I need to pay more attention. Maybe I should ask something and listen more. What's going on? The body language is actually the whole part, big part of influencing and negotiation, which can actually help you, first of all, be more influential, but secondly, to understand when the other person is not at ease, disagrees, is maybe wants to ask a question, but it's not brave enough or whatever. So it's definitely one of the things you may want to kind of listen to some podcasts and have a look at it because it's very helpful. And last but not least, don't let it be. When you are negotiating, if you feel that they are pushing you too much, don't let it be. defend your position professionally and appropriately, and that's totally different discussion which we can have for hours. But people think that if they actually let the thing which happened, or that sentence they said, or that almost unfair push they gave you, if they let it be, that the relationship will be better. But guess what? It will not be, because they will see you as a pushover and they will not respect you. So if you can actually be very strong, professional, fair, but strong, actually, at the end of the day, your relationship will be stronger as well. And that's those were a few tips for negotiation. Again, that would require huge training if you really want to master it, but it's a skill you can master. And last but not least, I promised you something about authenticity. Authenticity is understanding who we are. And one of the best tools I'm using is the wealth or talent dynamics tests from Genius U. They actually explain when are you in flow, which means that you are providing the highest possible value to the world. It means that you gain the most trust and build a relationship with people. And also that you are roughly 5 times more productive. This sounds interesting. And as Josef said at the beginning, you can use this knowledge about yourself, but also about the team members, project team members, to build a very powerful and productive team. But it also has the implications on how you are actually using different tools for influencing, persuasion, and negotiation. All is connected. We have 4 key energies which differentiate people. And if you do the test, you will find out which is your dominant energy. And based on that, you will know whether you are a person who is great in innovation, starting new things, asking what are we going to do, starting the projects, bringing business innovation, which would be dynamo. If you are in blaze energy, you are most probably the person who cares about people a lot, and people are, as a first question which comes to their mind, who is going to do that? Compared to dynamo, who asks, what are we going to do? Blaze asks, who is going to do that? Who do we need in the team? Are those people motivated? Whom do we need to inform? Who is our stakeholder? All the who's of the world. And we need those people, right? In the project, in the business, in the team. In tempo, people who have tempo energy are those very, very pragmatic people who are, their biggest motivation is to have things done in high quality, meeting the KPIs, just doing it. They don't want a lot of discussions, a lot of strategic and philosophical talk. They just want to go out and do it really well. And then there is a 4th energy, steel, which is more insightful energy. It's energy which actually focuses within and looks for insights, looks for the reasons, and looks for the consequences so that we can do it better and better again. Now, as I'm speaking, you are probably already thinking about different people, how they have it, who they might be. Now, again, that's a more complex discussion than this simplification. But what we can do actually is that we can understand that we need all those 4 energies, plus the spirit energy, which asks why. We need those 4 energies in our business and in our project. And if we are not having these energies, then what is going on is that there are some people who are not in flow, who don't feel comfortable, who feel de-energized while performing some necessary tasks. So this approach is useful for project management. Now, how does it link to the negotiation and influencing and persuasion? Well, if I understand who I am, I can actually select the tools which belong to me, and I can watch myself that I do not skip certain things. Now, I will tell you, I'm creator, which is dynamo energy. My natural stage when I'm in flow and when I'm very productive is thinking about what are we going to do, about the concept, about the strategies, about the solutions, about the things. And I'm very fast, like all the dynamo is. Now, I love people. I want people to prosper, to thrive, but it's not my first thought. And if I'm left to myself without this knowledge, I would probably come and say, hey guys, I have this new change to our project, which is excellent. And they will tell me, well, but we even didn't finish the previous part of the project and you are already changing that and we cannot cope, we don't have time. And I would probably say, we are not in the kindergarten, right? Let's go and do it overnight. It's really important. I would totally disregard the other energies, most probably, if I'm not aware. But if I am aware, I can actually ask person who has the blaze energy and ask them, what do you think about that? How can we do it in the way which would be beneficial also for the team, so that we don't destroy them, so that they are not overworked and stuff like that? And we can actually find the help. Or when doing the presentation or trying to influence somebody, I may be aware of my other features as creator. As creator, I always have new ideas, always, even as I'm speaking right now, always I have new ideas. Now, I learned it tough way back in my career when I would be improving my presentation as I go. And 2 things happened. I spent all the time before I was able to finish my presentation. And secondly, I confused a lot of people because I stepped away from the clarity which we need to have when we are influencing others. So for me, understanding that I'm creator, it helps me to stay really focused and to make sure that I'm not adding things which are not adding huge value. And especially for people who are in dynamo, but also some others, the key question, which I'm always asking myself when preparing, is what else can I cut out of my plan of arguments or stories or presentation? What else can I cut out rather than add in? This may not be so critical for some of the others. I hope that you now understand the value of understanding who you are in terms of these dynamics, in terms of these profiles, and that it could help you actually understanding that you will be influencing, persuading, and negotiating as you. You will not be tempted or feeling guilty that you are not doing it like somebody else. Because guess what? They may be totally different energy profile than you are. And if you copy paste other people who are different from you, you stop being authentic. You don't feel comfortable with that. It shows through your body language, and you are losing the trust of other people. Something is wrong with you at that moment, and people have a problem trusting. So understand who you are. Understand the key things about influencing a negotiation. Select your own tools. Work with your team based on the energies, and you will see how much more of what you want you will be achieving. Thank you so much. And since we are at the end of my presentation, I would like to invite you to connect with me. And I am handing over to Josef.
Okay. Well done, Ivana. Thank you very much for your excellent and clear explanation. And the next step, you can attend a special workshop to learn how to create impact on project. I'm going to share the landing page of the project soon, and also as registered participants, you can also get a special bonus. It's open, and here you can see first of all what we have done. We have created a special supplementary reports how to build your success on your character profile using Well Dynamics or Thailand Dynamics typology. This is a landing page, and also I'm going to share to the screen the link to the supplementary reports, and you can by the way, supplementary reports and Well Dynamics token for a bonus prize for our partners. And this is first information, first piece of information. And secondly, let me share the link to the special workshop with Ivana. It's master your influence on project page, and you can see from the landing page. This is 3 hours special workshop highlighting the strategies how to build your success or influence on project or even on your private life. And also, I'm going to share to the chat for you the link to the landing page, and also you will get a special bonus to register to this special workshop in the spring this year. And that's my recommendation. And plus, if you don't already have your Well Dynamics or Thailand Dynamics yet test completed, you can also get a token for the test and supplementary reports at a special price. I have already shared with you a link to the special page how to purchase it. And if you have already completed the Well Dynamics test, you can even purchase just a supplementary report. It's super for you. And also you can follow link from the chat. And that's it. And finally, let me share the connects to the Shine, to our circle on the Genius U, and you are welcome to join us and follow. And finally, thank you very much, Ivana, to the brave and clear explanation. And if there is any question, we are ready to answer it, and we are in touch. And Ivana, thank you very much. And it's you have a time for final word on your side.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to meet you and other people in our workshop. It will be longer, obviously, and we will do the deeper dive than today on the topics. So looking forward to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.